All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Aloha, everyone, and welcome to the Evolution of Aloha podcast, a Plowline Media production. I am your host, Dr. Jerry Ibala Rosa Tanel. And today I am like so excited because we'll be talking with Tanya Carnahan. She is the owner of AloHā Northwest. It is located in Kirkland, Washington, just a little east of Seattle. And Kim and Keenan DeMello of Edmonds, Washington, originally from Oahu, specifically Mililani, but as Keenan and I start talking, I think we're related from the Waipahu side, but we'll get into that, sooner. And then they are the owner of Kimberline Creations. So today we're going to be talking about my favorite word, which is aloha. And all of us, with the businesses that we have and the products and services that we provide, we are all passionate about aloha. So we're going to talk about on just what does that mean to us, and how do we live it, and how do we also share it as well too. But before we get started, I'd like to do the honor of acknowledging the land in which I currently reside. So I begin by acknowledging that those of us who are gathering in the Pacific Northwest area, we are on the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish people who have lived in the Salish Sea Basin since time immemorial. We respect this place and honor the sacred spiritual connection to the land, the water, and its people, past, present, and future. And by acknowledging these lands and their original indigenous inhabitants, we reach back to our own indigenous roots and reflect on the impacts of colonialism and the lands from which all our people come. And we're connected to our ancestors through this connection to land, for the land is what connects us all. So please join me in taking a moment to honor the lands of the traditional people in the territory in which you currently reside. Today, I honor the Tulalip tribes and the allied bands for their enduring care and continuous protection of the land where I currently occupy. So thank you so much for being with us today, Tanya, Kim, and Keenan. So we're gonna talk about aloha. And for many people, when I ask them, what does aloha mean? Of course, the first thing they're like, oh, aloha means hello and goodbye. Like when I was at a Tanya's store last week, I had an 8-year-old who was like, I know aloha. It means hello and goodbye, and that's it. I was like, sit down. Auntie Jerry's going to school you just a little bit. But it's like when we talk about aloha, people from Hawaii and those who know Hawaii, that's the first thing they think about, right? They're like, oh, aloha is a greeting and everybody loves aloha because it's such a word that everybody has come to love, but they don't know why. So I wanted to kind of invite you all in first. Tanya, tell us a little bit about yourself and your store and all of that good stuff. So let's do a quick introduction.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I grew up mostly in Washington, kind of all over the place. My upbringing was wild and weird and very diverse. But my family moved to Kona in the early 90s, and I got to live there for a while and absolutely fell in love with everything about it, with the people, with the place, and being there. And we moved back away, and it wasn't there for a very long time. But a couple years ago, I was able to go back and reconnect with a lot of the friendships that I still have there, and was just blown away by just the creativity and the beauty. I have so many friends that are working hard to make a living there with their art, their jewelry, their clothes, their pottery, all of these different things that they've created. They're so beautiful and so inspired. And I thought, I wish I could support them by buying all of their stuff, but I'm not rich. I can't do that. But I can bring it back with me. Maybe people in Washington would like to see the beautiful things from my friends in Hawaii, and maybe that is a way I can support them provide a platform to expand their reach outside of the islands to the mainland, and shine the light on these people, my friends there, who make such beautiful things. So that's kind of what sparked the idea of Aloha Northwest, bringing the Aloha spirit to the Pacific Northwest, specifically through people I know there that are making just beautiful, wonderful things and trying to make a living there.
And your friends that are from Hawaii, are they Hawaiian that you're supporting?
Some of them, yeah. Yeah. Some of
Okay,
them have lived there their whole lives. Some of them have lived there recently. Some of them are Native Hawaiian. There's a whole mix of people.
awesome, awesome. I know I've been to your store, and it's like you can feel it, right? As soon as you walk in. It's such a cute and welcoming space. And so it's yeah, those who haven't gone out there, they should definitely go out there. And I love that you have a variety of things. And some of the things that I'm like, oh, I don't have to like, travel far or go online or pack up my suitcase when I'm going back, because you have them. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for also hosting the read aloud with the children on last Friday. Was it last Friday?
Yeah, it was last Friday.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I love having kids in the store. When kids walk in the store, it's like I forget that their parents exist because I see a child and I'm like, oh, like I love their energy. I love being a welcome space for them. I offer kids juice boxes and coloring pages. I have a play area. Like it's important to me that they feel welcome.
Mhm.
Um, that's just a part of who I am in my hospitality. So
Well, it's kind of funny because when I was there, I noticed that every child that walked into that store, they knew exactly where to go find juice and cookies. It was like coming into Auntie's house, right? So that's what it felt
oh,
like. It was
I
like,
see
oh
that.
my gosh, look at them. They just go straight to the refrigerator.
Yeah, I love that. On Sunday, oh gosh, I love that they feel like they can walk into, an extension of my home and my heart and head straight to the fridge and get their juice. On Sunday, I was starting to close up at 5 and a little kid ran through my door and I recognized them and I was like, "Oh, I better not close down. Like there's someone coming in. This is a child I recognize." They ran over and hugged me and then they ran straight to the play section. And I popped my head out the door and I saw their mom, and she had her huge SUV. She had brought her entire family down from Snohomish,
Wow.
grandma and grandpa and her sister and all of her kids, to come show me her new baby, to shop in the store. Like the whole family was there. And the kids were running around and they were coloring, and grandpa was sitting on the couch holding the baby. And I stayed open an extra hour and a half just to be family with them and serve them and hang out with them and shop together. And it was so much fun.
See, that's Ohana. That is Ohana. So they're like going to Auntie Tanya's house. So that's awesome. That
Thank
is
you.
awesome. So
Thank you.
thank you for sharing that space. And then, so Kim and Keenan, tell me about a little bit about yourself and about what you all do, because this is yours right here, right? Look.
Yeah. Yes.
I love it.
Um, Go ahead. Ladies first.
So I don't, okay, so I'm on the spot now. Um, what we do, so we both have, well, Keenan works full time. I work part time. I'm a server, and he works for a water distillery,
Supply
a
company.
water supply company. And we are hustlers. So we hustle our brains out all the time, just to show our creativity.
Mhm.
We feed off each other, and it's awesome because we just come up with so many different things that we want to share with everyone. And yeah, so that's what we do in our spare time, besides having kids, 2 dogs, and 2 cats at the moment.
Yeah.
So
So
we
what's Kimberline Creations? What are
so
some of the things
Kimberline
that you all have?
Creations, I started years ago. At the time, I was married to someone else, unfortunately. And they were gone. My brother was gone. They were over in Iraq. And I worked full time as a bartender. And I would come home and I'd be awake. and I just needed to like do something to relax my mind. And so I just started off taking apart jewelry and redoing it with my seashells and my glass. And then I started watching YouTube videos and just wanted to make all these cute little creations. So I started taking them to work with me. And so I had a box of earrings. All the girls at work, those things would sell because you know how it is when you go to work and you forget your earrings and you feel naked. So they're like, I need
Yes.
earrings. Where's Kim? Where's Kim? I need earrings. So I was the earring lady for the longest time because everybody needs earrings, I guess. So after that, when I decided to move to Washington to be with the love of my life, I packed up all my seashells, which was like 10 flat rate boxes, and shipped them over here, and all my beach glass, everything. So when I moved here, they all started coming in and everything, and they sat there for so long. And then finally we opened them, and he's like, babe, what are you doing? Like, you have all this stuff. Like, this is what you should be focusing on. So next thing you know, I started drilling and hammering and getting all the jewelry out again. And I came to him one day and I said, this is what I want to do. Like, this, I want to progress into something else. And I was on Facebook, and we did he printed these shirts. So we come up with names like how we can express, and then I put it on the Hawaiians page, the Hawaiians in Washington page on Facebook. So that's where we connected with lovely Tanya, and she was like, I love your shirts, you know, would you be interested in carrying them in my store? So we went down and met with her, and I can't tell you the welcoming feeling that she gives you. She is the sweetest, most genuine person I've ever met.
Oh, thank you.
And right out the gate, like we were all on the same page. Tanya is very much like us, where we just want to spread the aloha and just any way you can. So it was yeah, that's pretty much in the shell right there. Is so we met Tanya, and then next thing you know, like I have my jewelry in her store, which is amazing feeling for her to actually like believe in me and like my jewelry. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll hand it over to him because I'm embarrassed now.
No need to be embarrassed. What's up, Keenan?
No, I'm on the spot.
Yeah.
So kind of how everything kind of fell into place was you know, with us growing up together and have known each other for that long, living in, you know, apartments right across from each other, and my family knows her family, and we grow up, and you know, she gets married, and I ended up moving here when
Okay, wait, hold on. When she got married, did you like, oh, did you have like that broken heart?
He was married.
yeah, so I was previously married before
Yeah,
too.
you left that out.
So okay, so you're gonna open up the floodgates right now. Okay. You asked for it. Okay, so here's the deal. So so I ended up getting married, and I was married not for a long time. It was probably about a year. So long story short, um, being born and raised back home and being raised or growing up in Waipahu, to me was way different than living or even driving or hanging out on any other side of the island. I don't care what anybody else says. Like the mentality, the people is the most loving and strong, the strongest people that I've ever went to school with, hung out with. But they're the most rugged. Like And for some reason, you know, going to high school there, all my brothers went to Mililani and Lelihua. So I was the only one that was, went all 4 years there. And, you know, I was on a total different side from them. We weren't even close because I was always on that side of the island, Waipahu, the west side, Eva Beach, all that kind of stuff. And my mentality is totally different than theirs. You know, ever since I was in high school, that's where it clicked, where I learned how to screen print my own shirts. In school, after school, I was like, man, my whole thing after this is like with surfing and, all this stuff was I want to be my own boss one day. I don't know where, when, or what it is, but t-shirts are going to have something to do with it. So me and my friends would come up with just weird stuff to just put on shirts, and we would go into our class and they would give me an idea and we would screen print shirts and we'd wear them out, and people would ask us for shirts and that kind of stuff. So I spent a lot of time like figuring it out. My parents weren't there, my mom was doing her own thing, and my brothers were on their own trip on that side. So I you know my mom kind of fell out of the picture, and I ended up having to go back and forth and kind of raise my two younger brothers, you know, and she left them in an apartment to kind of fend for themselves, and I,
In
knowing
Waipahu? In Waipahu?
in Mililani.
In
That's
Mililani.
why I
Okay.
was going back to Mililani, like whenever I could. But I knew there was like my aunts and my uncles that live in the apartment too that would check on them. And, my uncle was the apartment manager over there. So the rent wasn't even being paid over there, but he was letting them, asking where my mom was. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to do what I can, being 19 years old. So that's where my mentality was like, okay, it's not even about making a lot of money, it's making enough money. I was working at a surf shop, but it was always like, okay, I need to go figure some stuff out. There's a lot of stuff that, I shouldn't have been doing. And, growing up with the friends that I had and the friends that I lost and all that kind of stuff built everything, made me hustle, grind at 18, 19 years old, starting my own brand at 21, 22 years old, but having no business, background structure, no foundation. It was selling t-shirts wherever, like selling CDs, and it was like, okay, this will go into, bringing them food or helping somebody, or, taking my friends and this, that, whatever. So fast forward, my ex-wife was pregnant with my son, and I ended up losing my job that I worked for over there. I worked for a moving company, and I ended up going in one day and losing my job. The company was shutting down. They sent everybody home. And I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? He was 4 months old. And so you fall back into a lot of stuff, with your friends, and so my whole thing was like, man, so what had happened was one day, one night, I ended up getting wrapped up in something that wasn't gonna go too well, and ended up having an option with her being, just having him. My ex-wife's parents ended up moving here a few years prior to this whole decision was, and she was like, let's just go visit my parents, take our son, just get away for a few weeks and come back, and then we'll figure it out. You know, mind you, we never even had a stable house for me and her to live in. You know, she was doing her thing. I was trying to take care of my son on my side, go and hang out here and go and hang out there. And it was more of like, fuck it, just buy one-way tickets. Because if I come back, this kid will not have a life, you know, and it's either I start fresh and start from scratch. Mind you, I've never left Oahu my entire life. So my thing was just like, I'm not going to even give myself the option to fail. I'm going to buy us 3 one-way tickets, get rid of both of our cars, and move here. Landed here, and my whole world flipped upside down. I had no idea what I just signed up for. And it was in November. Yeah. Came out SeaTac Airport, snow. I came off surf shorts, slippers, and a t-shirt. Like, and what I didn't know was her parents lived in Lake Stevens.
Oh.
In a 2-bedroom trailer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I almost went home, but I've never been like someone to fold, you know? Like I've always felt like I've been built for this kind of shit, you know, and like I've always figured out how to make things happen. Not a lot, you know. I've never wanted to be rich. I'm not that guy to be rich. Like, I just want to make sure like everything's okay, you know. So, you know, with the whole printing and all this type of stuff, like that's always been my passion. I've taught myself how to design. I have no computer skills at all. I've built my own screen presses. I've figured out how to make things work for me, you know, and I always hear, oh, you should get this. You guys need to get this. No, that, you know, that doesn't work for me, you know. So with her coming, you know, with everything falling into place with her, like it was just, everything just clicked. And it was like, I couldn't understand how it didn't work before, you know, because we've known each other for so many fucking years. Go into her bar and get trashed, and, you know, every night, every weekend, and she knows a lot of kind of what I've been through, you know. So with her coming here, like, and there was times where like people always talk about like, you know, where you feel like you're at that bottom. Oh, I've been to rock bottom. And I always tell them, no, you haven't. Like, because a lot of people that will talk about being at rock bottom's never been there. Because you don't even know what that feels like. You know, so with what she does and kind of what I do, it kind of bounces off, because at some times I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to print. And, you know, sometimes, you know, but with her doing what she does and the passion she has for that brings out, you know, that aloha vibe.
And that passion in you, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we're mirrors of each other. So
right.
mhm.
Right. but like with the whole aloha thing here, and I've switched my whole kind of thought on that word. With living here, it's totally different from me living home.
Mhm.
Like, and I have a lot of conversations with my friends that are from Hawaii that are here, and a lot of my haolé friends that I work with, and what really sticks out to me with that word is like all it is a mentality. I don't see what the fuck you look like. If you bring that mentality to me,
Yeah.
that energy, that vibe, I don't give a fuck what you look like, what you do, how you do it. You show me respect, I give it to you right back.
Mhm.
So with all these, and I have a lot of conversations with my local friends, we'll hang out, we'll barbecue and stuff like that. And it's just like they have all this animosity to people that are not from there, that are not from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest with you, our people are the worst at fucking showing it sometimes.
And
And that fucking
that's brave
sucks.
for you to say. That I am so
It
glad you
is.
bring it up,
Yeah,
Keenan,
it's
because it's like when we talk about aloha, and it's like when people look at this screen right now, when they come to this podcast, the only thing that they're going to think, a lot of people, is you and me from Hawaii. They'll be like, oh, those two from Hawaii,
yep,
not knowing that, Kim, you were raised there.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you're raised with is it frames how you are.
Yeah.
It may not it's not going to change the way that you look, but the essence of who you are as a human being is from that space in where you grew up.
yeah,
And you grew up on the Aina.
right,
The
Mm-hmm.
Aina has the mana, the power that you have inherited.
yeah,
And a lot of times when we talk about aloha, many people feel like if you're not from Hawaii, you shouldn't be talking about
right,
aloha.
Right.
right,
But I believe that that's not how aloha, even for our ancestors, right? That's not how aloha was meant to be. And Tipalahipaki says that when the world's going to search for peace, they'll look to Hawaii because Hawaii has the key, and that key is aloha.
Mm.
And when she talked about aloha, she had it to where aloha stood for akahai, to be expressed with tenderness, lokahi, to be expressed with harmony,
mm-hmm,
olu olu, agreeable, to be expressed with pleasantness, ha'ahaha, humility, to be expressed with modesty, and then ahunui, to be expressed with perseverance.
mm-hmm,
So it's a message that she sent to us that aloha, she didn't say only people from Hawaii knows aloha.
right,
You cannot share aloha with anybody else.
right,
Right.
Aloha is something to be shared. Aloha is something that we all have within us.
Mm-hmm.
And Keenan, you're right. There are people from Hawaii that don't even know how to share aloha.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I've been questioned before on, it's like, oh, what? How much Hawaiian are you?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
How much Hawaiian am I?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
yeah,
Right? It's like, oh, why are you talking about aloha? Why are you teaching about aloha? Well,
mm-hmm,
why shouldn't I? We all should be.
Right.
We all should be living aloha. And the fact that the question is, how much Hawaiian are you? That's not even aloha.
It's not irrelevant.
It is. It is. And so you all bring up this very, the way that I see it. If we are going to see aloha as this mindset, this way of being, that means that aloha transcends the color of our skin. Aloha expands beyond the reefs of
mm-hmm,
Hawaii. which means that if we all carry aloha with us, then we all should be sharing it as well too.
Yeah.
We all should be sharing it. And we need to teach other people that aloha is not just a greeting.
Yeah.
It is so much more. It is so much more than that. You know, it's like, Kim, when you first came on, you're like, we're hustlers. And, you know, it's like, that's what we do. I see that that's the resilience that you have as human beings of wanting to do the best, to be the best, to be able to share what you have, your creativity, your knowledge, everything you want to be able to share it, something that you want to give. With Tanya, you grew up in Washington. You understand what aloha is from living in Kona, but also how you share it. You hold space for others to be able to share their aloha. That's your aloha, right? That's your aloha. Your aloha is to hold space for others to share their aloha.
Yeah.
The artisans that's there, when you all are putting your work, Kim and Keenan, when you're putting your work into Aloha Vibes, you are sharing your aloha in the products that you're creating. Because everything with aloha having mana, with having power, as you are creating and you're drilling and you're putting in your shells and your glass beads, you're sharing your aloha right there. And when people wear your stuff, that's what they're carrying with them. So it is being shared in the physical and the spiritual realm, right? And so it's like when we talk about aloha with others, and when we share it, even when the world doesn't know how to share it back, how do we give aloha to those who don't even know what aloha is? Or how do we aloha our own people who don't know how to give aloha? How do we do that? What's your thoughts on that? Tanya, you go first.
I think of giving without expectation.
Yes.
The giving has to be with an open hand. And we don't get to control or have any part of how it's received or reflected back to us. It's in the giving. I love when young girls come into the store and they see Kim's jewelry and their faces light up. They see and they feel the shells and the beads she's created these things with. And it's so fun to tell them, this is my friend from Oahu. She handmade this. She collected these shells. Like this is a part of her that's created this. And when they hold it up and they're feeling it and they're trying it on, I can see in their eyes how much it impacts them. I can see in their smiles. And so they don't necessarily have a framework to understand what they're feeling is her spirit and her aloha being given to them. But I see it in them in the receiving of it. And then they're wearing it. They're wearing a part of her and they're sharing it and passing it on. So
And that's beautiful. And Kim, your shells, where did you gather them from?
So mostly on the North Shore of Oahu. I used to live at the beach. Sometimes more than school, unfortunately. Yeah. I would just love the beach, and I would collect every time we'd go out there. And I collected for so many years that some of the shells it's really hard to like give up, I'm like, I'm never gonna see this shell again, but then at the same time I'm like, it's gonna go to someone that say they can't go to Hawaii, and they'll have that piece of Hawaii with them. So I'm nowadays it's so hard for people to go on vacation or go to Hawaii, even us that we haven't been home in like 6 years. So
that's a long time. Remember when we used to pick paper shells? Remember the paper shells that we
yeah.
right? I mean, and every time my dad would go and he would like, get one opihi, he would
Oh my
put it in the
gosh.
bucket, and then we would
I'm with
make
all
jewelry out of the opihi shells.
Yeah, My
Yeah.
friend used to do that. Yeah, she would eat the OPE right there, and I'm like, okay, that's not my
That's
jam.
the best. That is
No,
the
she
best.
slurped it right up, and I'm like, no, I'm good, good. Give me the shell.
That is the best. And so, as you're collecting shells, I remember we did that. I mean, we have like so many puka shell necklaces from long time ago, because that's what we did, right? That
Yeah.
was our connection to the
Yeah.
land, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I'm taking this with me. And we didn't do it out of disrespect. It's like what our parents did. We all learned how to do that. And
Yeah.
so when you're making your jewelry and someone else is purchasing that jewelry, they're taking that piece of aloha with them, not just the fact that it's the shell,
Mhm.
it's where that shell came from,
Mhm.
right? It's like how that shell was actually made,
Mhm.
how it came into your hands, how you created jewelry out of that, and then how it's being sent to someone else.
Mhm.
So there is a story behind all of that. And
Mhm.
when we're able to have that part of the story, that is so special.
Mhm.
That is so special. And it's like, as you're talking about your story, I can see you on the beach.
Mhm.
Girl, don't even have to explain about spending more time at the beach than in the classroom. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I did that as well too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like how hard it is we live on an island, right? We live on an island and it's nice. It's like, I'm not going to sit in the classroom. This is so boring. I am going to go with my friends and go down body surf, right? I used to go down Waianae side too, pray for sex, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
just love saying that word. I just called it that. That was the name of the beach.
Yep.
I'm like, what? There is a beach called Pray for Sex. Can I just say it again?
Yeah. Awesome.
But
It's funny,
yeah,
we used to take the McDonald's food tray
Food trays.
yes,
and then
yes.
catch
And
what?
then they had to drill holes in it
Yeah.
so that way we
Yeah,
wouldn't
just like,
steal them.
Yeah.
We were those people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We were gonna
Yes.
bring them back.
Yes, exactly. You would body surf on that thing. That was slick. And then it's like we throw it on the sand as well too, right?
Next
Yeah.
person, grab 'em, yeah.
Right? I mean, these are some of the things the memories that keep us so connected to Hawaii, and and being back home, because we cannot, like you were saying, Kim, it's hard for us to go back home all the time. And it's like the further we are away from home, the further we get, sometimes I feel that we forget where we come from. And that's so natural because you assimilate to your environment. That is how people survive. Animals survive that way.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
need to assimilate into the culture that's there.
Mhm.
With human beings, I think, and especially with some of us who have a different culture than the culture that's here, we have to try to work towards blending it to where we can actually exist in these two worlds.
Exactly. Well, very well said.
And sometimes it's hard because the place that we feel like we need to be accepted into, there is all this judgment
Yep.
Mhm.
on how worthy you are to be accepted into this place.
Yep.
Have
It's
you
funny.
experienced that?
He asked me one time if I feel more accepted here because I'm white with blonde hair, and I told him, I said, I guess, yeah, in a way, until I open my mouth, and like sometimes people don't understand like what I'm talking about. And it's funny because at work they tease me all the time because I'll say like pinch bug, right? They're like, what's a pinch bug? And I'm like, a pinch bug. Like, what are you talking about? Those aren't called pinch bugs here. And I'm like, are you kidding me? They're called pinch bugs. No, they're earwigs. I'm like, why would you call them earwigs? They're like, oh,
It has pinchers.
they have pictures. And they're like, oh, she's from Hawaii.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, like it's a pinch bug, and then it's just little things that I don't realize that, instead of saying I'm going to the bathroom, I always say I'm going to go shishi. And everybody's like, what's shishi? You know, and it's so funny to me. It's nice being with someone that is knows the culture for sure. And being with Keenan, it literally, like, I feel like it keeps our spirit alive from home.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talk about days, you know, back in the days, you know, when me, him, and his brother are sitting around, we just laugh for hours because
Yeah.
we talk about, you know, certain nightclubs or something back home. And it's just like being with, you know, you don't realize when you're with somebody that has the same culture as you, it brings out certain things in each other, you know. And it's how everybody says, oh, he can finish my sentence, or she can. No, we literally finish each other's sentences because he's just as crazy as me, you know, like we think like that. And it's so funny. It's like,
It's just fun.
it's
Like,
fun.
sometimes you can go back to, with her saying, you think about, you know, when you're like 15 or 16, you know, and oh, this is the nightclubs we used to go to. But like, to have like our kids too, you know, with their ages now, 20, you know, 20, 22, one's gonna be 20, one's gonna be 16.
Yeah.
And it's like they're always asking, you know, how it was when, you know, we were younger and that kind of stuff. And then it's just, there's so much laughing. Like back home, you could go around the table, and it's just all the local shit comes out, you know, and it's just nonstop. Like, you know, it's real local, and that's kind of, I think, what makes it easy, you know, with like, especially with me and her, like, because I don't, it's funny because, you know, I'll do stuff knowing whatever she wants already before she even does it, and then vice versa. But like with her, it's like, and same thing, you know, I've never thought I would end up marrying, you know, a haolé, you know. But then again, like, you know, the way I think of haolé, like if somebody be, oh, you're so haolé, to me, that's your mentality.
Yeah.
You know, you having what that word meant to me back in the day, you know, haolé, white person, foreigner, you know, tourist or whatever like that. That shit went away because if when haolé guy comes over here, but he has the local mentality, like I don't think of him as being one haolé, you know. So to me, it's just a mentality, like. And like how Tanya was saying earlier too, it was like, you know, with AloHā and how people are here and that kind of stuff, being able to spread that word and spread your vibe, because that, you know, that the vibe is fucking everything. I could I could walk past you, I could walk into your store, like Tanya's store, and I'll be honest, like I walked into that store and that whole place was that vibe. You know, I haven't walked into a store here with that fucking vibe, and I felt at home. You know, and I've been here 20 years. I'm like, this is not. You know, I don't feel it. You know, like, but with her, like, it was everything. The music, the vibe, what was in there, her.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, sold it.
Spirit,
everything.
Her spirit comes out full blown.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's
so sweet.
Yeah.
That's the you know, when you all talk about the AloHā vibes, it's because AloHā is a vibe. AloHā is not a thing.
Right.
AloHā is not a thing. AloHā is not something that, you know, a product. The AloHā that was put into that product, the spirit, the ha that was put into that is the AloHā. Right. And so that's the way that you know, that I see it. And you know, one thing that when I went to see Tanya for the first time, with thank you to Justin, the realtor, for connecting us. That was really awesome. I was like, all right, I gotta see who this chick is, right? Authoritative chick. I was like, I gotta see who this chick is, what's she doing, right? And so I go and I'm like, all right, let me see.
Yeah.
So then it's like I pulled up Tanya's picture and I did the same thing too. I was like,
Mm.
oh, she white.
Yeah.
She white.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's go. Because, you know, I can understand on how people from Hawaii, we are protective of the things, you know. I mean, it's like when we're talking about aloha, like Keenan was saying, aloha is a mentality, right? It is a vibe, it is a thing. So I wanted to check out Tanya's vibe. And as soon as I went there and she had like Hawaiian music playing, I was like, all right, this is a plus because I can go from my car into the store without a break. There's still the Hawaiian music going on. I'm like, all right, that's a plus. And then she had food out.
Yep.
Right?
That was the thing I noticed, and she knew that too. I looked to the right. I was like, nope.
She had food out, and I was like, okay, she knows. And then she also offered, she she said she had juice and everything and stuff like that. And I'm like looking like, oh yeah, let me see what kind of juice she has. And she has like Hawaiian Sun. I was like, oh wait, what? I'm
I
like,
keep
okay.
having people tell me you should be selling that, and I'm like, no, this is just part of my hospitality, and especially to kids that come in, like, have a
Yeah.
juice. I know this feels like a taste of home. That's what I want to convey, and give that away. So I feel bad if I don't have some kind of snack open when people come in. I'm just looking around like, oh, what cookies do I have I can open up? Like, I want to offer food. I don't know why. That's just part of who I am, but I want people to feel at home there.
Again, it's a vibe. That's
a
it,
vibe,
Tanya.
yeah.
Right? It's a vibe. And so when people become too protective of what aloha means, I think what needs to happen is they need to have this rising consciousness of what is aloha. Is aloha something that we can pick up? Is aloha something that we purchase? What is aloha? And if aloha is a vibe, it is a mentality, then we need to change on that view on how we are viewing things. If we view it where aloha is only meant to be shared by people that are born and raised and look like people from Hawaii, then we're missing the boat.
Right.
That's not what aloha
I
is.
think it's like, okay, so think like the way I think of it too, especially like here, like even if you take that word away, you know, whatever it means to you to actually be nice to somebody and say what's up, and like if I let you in, just give me like one thank you or like a mahalo, you know, or if I let you come in my lane, it doesn't have to be, oh, that's not aloha, but people need to understand. And you know, like Tanya was saying, you can't expect them to reciprocate something that you're giving, but if they want that vibe, you need to figure it out in your own way, whether it's like, hey man, I appreciate that, thank you, or mahalo, or aloha, thank you. You know, it's the mentality goes further than just that word aloha, you know what I mean? But if you just come off in a way as if you care, or you care about somebody,
or you
acknowledge somebody for maybe like just a nice, all you got to do is say, oh, thanks, thank you.
Easy.
Yeah.
Right? And this mentality,
I opened the door for you, you know what I mean?
Say thank you.
The door, yeah. So, and that's one thing with me too. I'm like, oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's just like, then I put myself back in that. I'm like, you know what? This is my mentality. This might not be yours. But if you speaking on like whether they need to learn it or whether they want it, that's just something that's kind of built in you in a way.
Right.
You know, like it can be taught, it can be figured out, but in some way, like you have to pick up on it, because if you want to feel some type of way, like I used to be that guy that was always pissed off. Oh, F this, F that. Or I don't have that time anymore. You know what I mean? Like I want to be in a good mood, and I'm not gonna let you ruin it. But look, like if you decide like I do something nice, whether you cut me off or you don't say thank you because I let you in. Now it's just like that's your mentality, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Mhm.
But
Well, and yeah, that's definitely a higher level of consciousness as well too, right? I mean, it's like in Hawaii, every time I turn the news on,
Mhm.
every time I turn the news on, all I hear is how people are coming out of their cars, freaking beefing on
yeah,
the freeway, cutting each other off, shooting each other, doing all of these things. It's like, whoa,
yeah.
what happened to the Aloha spirit?
Mhm.
What happened to the Aloha spirit?
And those are the guys preaching them. The guys back home
Those those are the
wearing
ones that's
shirts
like,
that say aloha on them and not following their word. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
sorry, I could go.
No, no, exactly though.
Simmer,
Exactly.
simmer
That's
down.
it. I get you. And there's moments where I feel the same way too. And when you're talking about, when you're talking about that haolé mentality, again, when we see haolé, we see people that look like Tanya and Kim.
Mhm.
But the mentality is, for me, one haole would be someone that is going to turning their back to the ocean, right? That's one haole. Going up to the heiaus and messing them up. That's one haole, right?
Mhm.
That's the mentality that I see when they go and they desecrate some of the statues that we have, King Kamehameha,
You know,
right? It's
respect.
like they don't respect. So in other words, haole is someone that doesn't have any respect for the
Right.
culture,
Right.
right? They don't have any respect for the culture. Haole is not when we look at Tanya and Kim.
Right.
And so it's like, if we can shift the way we see aloha, the way that we think about haole,
Mm.
we would probably we would probably have a different way of living. And it would be more of this spirit of aloha, by
Mhm.
being kind, by being gracious, by being aloha ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got to be aloha ourselves in all ways,
Mhm.
even when people are cutting us off.
Yeah.
Even when we open the door and they just walk right on it as if they expect it,
Right.
right?
Right.
As
Mhm.
if they expect it. And those are some of the things where, when it gets to be nuanced, and when we start talking about aloha, where there is a responsibility and an accountability to how we are sharing the aloha spirit. So it's like, if I see injustices and I see that there are inequities that are happening, I'm going to address it with aloha.
Yeah.
Would you like someone treating you that way?
Mhm.
Right? When there is here on the continent, we have this, we are divided by race. And when we're divided by race, basically we are divided by what we look like. So it's our phenotype. It's our phenotype. The way that we look, the characteristics of what we look like, is how we judge one another. That
Mhm.
person's black, that person's white, that person's this, that person's that, without even inquiring.
Right.
Without even inquiring. I actually I was a keynote speaker for the Student of Color Conference one year. And there were two girls that was there. And and I was talking about how aloha transcends race. These two girls, one, she had like blonde hair, really fair skin, and she
Mm.
was from Tonga, French.
Mm.
She pulled more on the French side.
Mm.
There was another Tongan girl that lived down over in Tacoma, and she was full on what you would look like as
Yeah.
Tongan. So I
Right.
had these two girls stand up and I asked the crowd, which one is Tongan? And of course, they looked at the girl that fit their description of what they look like as being Tongan. So I said, introduce yourselves. The girl that was with blonde hair and she had light eyes and light skin.
Wow.
When she started to speak,
Yeah.
her second language is English.
Uh,
So she spoke in Tongan.
wow.
The audience was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
What just happened? So it is the way that we view the world. And we
Yeah.
need to change the way we view the world, and we need to evolve. And
Mhm.
so that's why with a lot of the work that I do, and it's like my website, this podcast is called The Evolution of AloHā,
Mhm.
because I want to be able to work with others, to gather stories from others, to transcend and to evolve what aloha means. So when they see aloha vibes, it's not like, oh, hi, it's aloha, it's a greeting, hello, right? It's not that.
Yeah.
That's not what it is,
Mm.
right? There is a responsibility and an accountability to that word and how we share it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we need to continue to talk about it, because I even got this sticker from Tanya. See, aloha is contagious,
Oh yeah.
I have that one. I love it.
That's a good one.
because it is.
Yeah.
When we show each other kindness, when we show each other grace, when we show each other empathy and compassion, then it's like, although we are not responsible to how it is received, it will come back to us. Maybe not with that individual, but somebody else who's been witnessing that. Right? There is always people that are witnessing our actions. And so even though you're having aloha to this one person, and they may not give that back to you, this person over here who witnessed that will.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's always being able to share that aloha spirit, and and how you share it as well too. Aloha is something that we give away freely, like Tanya was saying. It is something that we share. It's something that we honor. It is something that we respect. It is because it's who we are. And so Tanya, I wanted to thank you for holding that space for artisans like Keenan and Kim to be able to showcase what their aloha is, their passion. So you've created the stage for all of these players to be part of what aloha is. And so you've got the container, and you have all of these individuals that are filling it. And Keenan and Kim, you all keep doing your aloha vibes, and you keep making it happen, and keep challenging people and challenging yourselves, to always live aloha.
Mhm.
Because in this world that can be so divided, even with our own people,
Yeah.
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 that is when we have to give even more aloha.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of making all pilakia, and it's like, oh, that person, they don't know how to make aloha to me. I'm not going to aloha them back. That's not aloha, right? And then it's like looking at somebody like, oh, who she thinks she is, trying to sell aloha. No, why don't you inquire a little bit more? Why don't you ask questions? Why don't you get to know the individual before you start sitting over here making all kinds of judgment? That's how we have this. That's why this world is just so messed up, is because it doesn't have enough aloha. And
Yeah.
if Auntie Palahi Paki's words of wisdom is that when the world looks for world peace, they're going to look to Hawaii, because Hawaii has that key, and that key is aloha. Being that we are off from Hawaii, we've got the 9th island over in Vegas, because Hawaii just it's not sustainable, then we are all aloha. And
Mhm.
so it's like we should probably start acting it a little bit more. So for individuals who are talking about aloha and are preaching aloha, live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live it,
Yeah.
right? So I just wanted to thank you all so much for being on this podcast and for sharing your wisdom, for sharing your stories, and for sharing aloha. That's just keep doing it, and I look forward to meeting you all in person. I'm hoping getting tired here. I hope to be at Tanya's place again to do another book reading, but you all could go on to evolutionofaloha.com and see my book tours. I've got this here, Let's Live Aloha. That's my book, and you can find it at Tanya's store as well too. Again, we are talking with AloHā Northwest and Kimberline Creations. Kimberline Creations can be found at AloHā Northwest. AloHā Northwest is located in Kirkland, Washington. So mahalo, everyone. Thank you so much. You've been listening to the Evolution of Aloha podcast, a Plowline Media production. So tune in for upcoming episodes with other amazing people. Don't forget to subscribe to the Evolution of Aloha, the Plowline podcast, available on all your popular podcast platforms. And also to help us continue this work, please, think about becoming a supporter of the Spirit of Aloha and head over to patreon.com/Plowline Productions. Your contributions will go directly toward producing and building engaging and quality content. So again, this podcast is a Plowline Media production. Until next time, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. Mahalo and ahui ho.
Thank you.
Thank you.